you know what, son? Wherever you go in this life, you are going to find difficult people. Now, that wasn't the actual words he used. Wherever you go, you're going to find difficult people, is what he said. And it's true. This is a true, absolutely factual thing. I can remember it like yesterday. Because I was so down in the dumps, I was so depressed. I had such high expectations for these believers, for these Christians in the church, and they were fighting over paint versus siding. And the siding people won out, by the way. Somebody asked me after 8 o'clock, so who won? Did you hear the rest of the sermon? But that's okay. They were like on pins and needles. Yeah, they sided it, and that people won, you know, like the Civil War, you know. But, you know, Dad was right, 100% right. He said you're going to find people that are difficult wherever you go, so don't get down. Don't be down about it. Son, and that was great wisdom. Because it taught me that difficult people are there for us. It's nothing else, right? They're there for us. In fact, as the years went by, whenever, you know, being a pastor for 20-some years, you know, whenever people are being difficult in the church, I always want to go up to them and shake their hand and smile and say, thank you for making my dad a prophet. Yes. Thank you. You are a difficult person. It's good to know that Dad was right. Here you are, you know. Difficult people are always going to be there for us. And to unpack that a little bit and give them more detail to that, when you think about the difficult people you encounter, they always seem to be there, especially on a bad day, right? There they are, front and center. Somehow, difficult people always seem to know how to get under our skin, you know? They know how to say things or insinuate things that highlight our errors, that highlight our shortcomings, right? Does this sound about right? Difficult people. Maybe somebody is difficult in your life. You define them as such in your workplace or in your school or maybe even in your family. Because they're disagreeable. They're disagreeable. Argumentative. If you go outside and say, boy, there sure are a lot of stars out tonight, the difficult person says, no, not really. There's really not that many stars. You know, they're going to disagree. They're going to argue no matter what. You with me? You say black, they say white. Yeah. Difficult people can be disagreeable. They can argue. They can be negative. You know, to try and give you that idea. They make easy things complicated. Everybody know anybody like that? Ever know anybody like that? Something you're like sitting going, this isn't that difficult, right? Difficult people make it difficult. They make it hard. They make it complicated. Difficult people stir up trouble. Difficult people will thrive on controversy. You know anybody like that? There's some people through the years that I've wanted to say to them, hey, this isn't a TV soap opera, man. This isn't the way the world works. But difficult people, some of them, that's why they're difficult. Difficult people speak ill of us. They speak ill of us, put us down, say little cutting things about us. Anybody know anybody like that? Whether in your workplace or in your school or in your family. I think you got an idea. Difficult people are a fact of life. And they bring out the worst in us. You agree? Difficult people somehow push our buttons and bring out the very worst in us. And that's also a fact. Difficult people cause us to cringe. We see them coming. We see them coming, or we see their name on our caller ID and we cringe, right? Now think about that. I'm going to let it go to voicemail, right? I was in a good mood and I want to talk to them, right? That's how it works. Difficult people, let's get real about this. You know, again, in your day-to-day, in your workplace, in your school, or in your family, or how you go about, you know, difficult people. So here's the questions as you're sitting there thinking about it. Do difficult people steal your good moods and your goodwill? Does that ever happen to you? Then I'm talking to you today. Do difficult people ever steal your energy? Your energy, your vitality, you know, your time and your resources. Another way to put it is, do difficult people rent space in your head? Do they? Like when you go to bed at night, there they are. And when you wake up in the morning, there they are, looking at you in the mirror, right? They crawled into bed with you, you and your husband. There they were, right? It's kind of weird. Think about it. Difficult people rent space in your head and in my head. And again, I say, difficult people are a fact of life, and they're stealing the vitality and the energy that God intends us to have. My family can attest to that. They can attest to that. My wife, because she's been my wife for 17, 18 years, something like that. How long has it been, actually? 18, thank you. Okay, I might as well. Might as well give you facts. She knows. And many times she'll say, hey, no, you're upset with this person, and this person. Don't take it out on us. Does that ever happen to you? See, difficult people rent space in our heads, and they show up around our dinner table and in our living room. They show up there. And again, it's a reality. Moving from the desert of anger and paralysis and our life being sucked and our time being wasted to the garden of living in life means that we need to be real and get honest about dealing with difficult people in our lives. Really. Because it's impacting us. It's making a difference in our lives. Jesus said, you got to deal with these people. Those are my words. Jesus said, if one offends you, if someone hurts you. Now, I'm not just talking about people that don't agree with you. Is everybody with me on the same page? Doesn't mean just people that are a different political party than us. Difficult people aren't people that just have a different opinion or like different television shows or different kinds of music than us. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about people that disagree with us. Because that's a fact of life too. Y'all with me? Amen? You agree with that? Okay. But I'm talking about people, as I just described, that take it to a next step and they can't leave it alone. And they make life difficult for us. They make life tough. They steal our energy. They steal our time. Jesus told us how to deal with those folks. And if you just do a basic reading of the gospel, you can see very clearly that Jesus was surrounded by difficult people. People who didn't understand him. Jesus was surrounded by people who didn't like him, flat out. Didn't even give him a chance. Jesus was surrounded by people who were threatened by his call for change. Jesus was surrounded by people that were so difficult that they wanted to harm him, they wanted to bring him down. It says in the gospel that Jesus was surrounded by people that were constantly looking for ways to trip him up. Does that sound like difficult people? That's in the gospel. I'm not making it up. Jesus was surrounded by people that were constantly looking. Is that something we can use against him? Is that something we can trip him? Can we take his words and throw them back in his face? They were difficult people. They were so difficult that they wanted to kill him, and they did. Right? So I think Jesus knew a little bit about difficult people. He knew about it. And he said, you got to deal with them. You got to deal with them. Jesus was surrounded by difficult people. And this is what he did. This is the first thing he did. He stayed connected to God through prayer, listening to God, worship, and being with supportive people. When we turn the corner here and go to the so what, as in, okay, cool, Tom, you told us all about the difficult people. We had a couple laughs about that. We're thinking about them, we're thinking about them. But so what? What are we going to do about these difficult people? Well, that's where I'm heading, so hang with me. Jesus showed us that the first thing he did is he stayed firmly connected to God. He stayed connected to God through prayer, by meditation, worship, being with supportive people. Again, read through the Gospels. What did Jesus do? He would go off and pray. He would go to worship. He would read the scrolls. He would go sometimes by himself. Sometimes he'd take Peter, James, and John. He would go pray. He would keep his soul strong and connected to God. That's important. He didn't let that lapse. He didn't let the difficult people get in between him and God. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? He didn't let the difficult people get between him and God. Now, sometimes, some difficult people will keep us from God. What a shame. Sometimes difficult people will keep us from God.